Well, Vince, we have looked at using a Yosemite rig, a pre-rigged rig, and also how to actually tie that. But one thing with the Yosemite rig I noticed is we use odd lengths of rope. We're using 12 foot of rope. What if we have the situation where we end up hiking a mile, 2 miles in the wood, we think we've got everything, only to get to where we need to be and somebody left a Yosemite rig? Is there anything else we could rig in its place with traditional equipment without having to cut rope?
Yeah, Carney, there's a field expedient method that works really good. It's going to use some pretty common equipment. Just 4 regular prusik slings of about any length will work. The same 5 carabiners, 1 for the main attachment and 1 for each of the 4 legs. And then we're going to use 2 body cords.
Now, body cords being normally are at about 25 or 30 foot length apiece.
Exactly. Most people have about a 25 foot length of body cord. It comes in real handy for lashing someone into the Stokes basket, the internal, external lashing. You know, they use the 25 foot lengths, as well as for tying a modified Swiss seat. And it's really simple. All we're going to do is just like we started in the conventional, we're going to take our 2 pieces of body cord, we're going to find the center, forming a bite, and then we're going to take both of those, and we're using a yellow and a brown rope right now, both with blue tracers, just to give you a little visual. And we're going to put those together. And now what we're going to do, just like before, we're going to tie a figure 8 on a bite.
So really at this point we've started off exactly the same way.
Exactly the same way, that is correct. Okay, we're going to get this up to a good working height. Normally we're going to keep this within about 3 or so feet of the basket. If we create too much, if I took advantage of all of this body cord, this would work fine if we had plenty of height for our lifting operations. But sometimes, you know, getting the basket over the edge or whatever, we need to make sure that we don't lose that height if our artificial high directional comes into play. So we're going to figure about how much length we're going to need right here. And we're going to tie another figure 8 on a bite in each one of these legs.
Okay.
Okay, those are fairly close to the same length. Okay, once you've done this, all we're going to do is we're going to take and we're going to secure this leg off like we would using the double fisherman's knot. At this point, we're going to go ahead and make our attachment to the basket. Now we would repeat the same steps for the 2 ends that go to the head. The next step is to just take one of our prusik cords and we're going to come up and we're going to place a prusik cord around each leg. Like always, when you finish tying the prusik knot, it's important to take a few extra seconds to go ahead and dress the knot down and make it look nice and neat so you can see what you're working with. At this point, the system's basically tied. You're going to feed your prusik knot down to the bottom, and he's going to just clip it in to the carabiner that's already attached. And if you'd hold this up, I'm going to attach my side. Once you do this, of course, you're going to lock it in. And now what we've got is we've got the basket, which is tied off to the terminal end of each piece of 1/2 inch rope. So even if the prusik cords were to slip, were to cut, or for whatever reason slide down the rope, it's just going to bottom out at the figure 8 knot. Okay. But we still leave ourselves the ability to pull and shorten up and make an adjustment.
So our adjustment in this is solely on the prusik cord, and it's okay to leave this slack because, again, it's tied in at the end. So
exactly.
If there was a breakage of the prusik, it would be a very small shock load, you might say.
Yeah, if the prusik were to slip or fail for whatever reason, it's still going to fall out on the terminal end of the 1/2 inch rope. I would suggest always moving these to the inside so they didn't become tangled or snagged on anything. And then we're going to repeat the whole process at the head.
Okay. So Vince, we've tied the back exactly as the front now. We've got our finished modified Yosemite rig.
That's correct. And as you can see, just with the conventional rig, we've got full adjustability, head elevation, feet elevation, and left or right.
And this was done with things that are normally in our packs: 2 body cords, 4 prusik cords, and 5 carabiners.
That is correct. Stuff we would normally have with us on a normal rescue.
A modified Yosemite rig.